But I'm glad we had this conversation because, to your point, like you're not highly political. You're more, you go through your life and there's other things that are probably more important that you focus on. But you see what's happening in society. And it's just not
I think
good.
there's an addiction to drama right now. Because here's the thing. If there wasn't some slight addiction to drama, whatever you're putting your attention on would be solution based, or you would pay it no mind. But yet we're all putting our attention on these dramatic things, and they're not solution based at all. They're just very and if you think about it, look inside. Why, if you don't like Trump, if you don't like Trump and you keep watching Trump, why? You're getting some rush out of hating Trump. That is an addiction to drama. So if we are going to put our attention on something, let it be solution based.
Solution based, and be addicted to kindness or something else.
There's a rite of passage. It takes wild courage.
Yes.
Wild.
So I'm a little bit pissed off today, and I'm a little bit emotional today. And Robin, I might start screaming over there. Robin, you might have to lower my mic just to let you know. Look, our country, the United States of America, just went through an election. The red, white, and the freaking blue. I've traveled all over the world, as have you. The best country in the world. Yes, the election's over. One side won, one side lost. That is not a reason to start deleting friends, to start fighting with family members, to start quitting your job because of your workplace is more left-leaning or more right-leaning, which I also got an email about, to start texting me nasty messages because of the people that I talk to or because of freedom of speech, to have guests on this show, Wild Courage, who have actually canceled because of some of our previous guests. Because, we spoke to Carrie Lake. Why wouldn't we speak to Carrie Lake? She was a candidate for freaking United States Senator. There's a lot of important issues there. I feel like right now, my hope was we'd get through this election and it was going to be this kumbaya moment and our country would come together. The opposite is happening right now, Ferrari. And it's upsetting me. And you know what? I have lost personal friends. I've lost some acquaintances. I've had some people that were also booked on my show that no longer want to do my show because of people I've had a conversation with, because somebody has Trump in their last name and I've interviewed them. He's the freaking president. Why wouldn't you interview those people?
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Our country is divided. It's poison. It's cancer. It's toxic. And I wanted to talk to you about this topic today because you're my voice of reason, because you're not highly political, because you're not a political nerd like me scrolling through X all morning and seeing, what's happening out there in the world. You're a rational, intelligent woman. What is happening in our society that these men and women in power dictate who we love and who we want to associate with? It's total bullshit.
I mean, I don't have a solid answer, but I have my own reflection. And I feel like it's valid for the people that are passionate about what they're passionate about. I understand it because there's so much polarity that it gets confusing. If you're so passionate about one side and you have your own beliefs and it's so divided, it almost has people not trust in anything when somebody is viewing it in the opposite way. So I understand, and I wouldn't call it ridiculous, but it's designed to pull us apart. I mean, that is the strategy, and the strategy is working, but I feel like there's a misunderstanding. And I just don't feel like people fully understand each other. And I feel like if we did, we would have a different kind of respect for one another.
Well, I would call it ridiculous, and I would say that the truth is, people, let's take a deep breath. Let's look at the facts. We have two viable choices in this country, right? Two parties. Really, that's the truth. Two-party system. So because somebody voted one way versus there's only one other choice, the other way, all of a sudden, I want you shunned. I want you out of my life. Like, go jump off a cliff. And it's gotten even that nasty. I have a friend, somebody that I would consider a fairly close friend, and she wrote me like this really nasty message. I stand up for LGBTQ rights and black and brown people, and blah, 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 blah. And just by the fact of who you associate with or who you've talked to or whatever, I want you out of my life. I can no longer associate with you or talk to you. First of all, you don't know how I voted. Second of all, I'm probably the most socially liberal guy you'd ever meet in the whole world. Third of all, even if I wasn't, is that still a reason to delete somebody from your life? I mean, it's just, this doesn't happen in other countries as strong as here. And there's something wrong. We have a poison in America, and it's dividing families, it's dividing workspaces, it's dividing friends. And I think these types of open and honest conversations need to happen, because otherwise, guess what? It's just going to get worse.
It is going to get worse, but here's the way that I look at it. One, I understand your perspective. I think the misunderstanding is ridiculous, but if you're in a misunderstanding, you don't know that you are. So I get it from your point of view, but I feel like, oh God, I lost my train of thought. Hold on. No. I'm sorry, Alexia, you have to delete this part.
No, leave this part in. Leave this in. Don't touch this part.
I'm drawing a blank because.
Well, here's where I would go with it. You know, and this is just the truth. And we're going to go hot and heavy for a moment. One side, and I'm going to include the mainstream bullshit corporate media, which I'm fighting against at the moment, called one man Adolf Hitler. That's not a good person to be. Can you agree that's not a good person to be compared to?
Who's getting compared to him? You.
Who do you think?
Trump.
Orange man, bad. Trump. Everyone in here knows what I'm talking about.
I feel like you're talking in code.
Okay.
Be more clear.
One side compared Donald Trump,
his
supporters, and himself to Nazis.
Okay, but are you on a side? Just say your side.
He had a Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden. That's what they said.
Okay.
Well, guess what? That Nazi is now the next president of the United States. We all know he's not a Nazi. He didn't murder 6 million people. It's ridiculous. Now, if you don't agree with some of his policies, let's have an open and honest and freedom of speech debate and conversation and still be buddies and still be friends and still date and still be healthy coworkers.
Yeah.
Instead of, no, you voted for the Nazi, or no, you voted for Comrade Kamala, who is a communist, and I want to delete you from my life.
Okay,
it goes both ways.
But
I voted for Joe Exotic, so take me out of this.
You're lying.
Joe Exotic's my boy. Free Joe Exotic.
Your energy, though, the way where you're coming from and the level of resistance you're having is sort of a match for the level of resistance people have for you.
No,
so
it's not. I'm saying
is.
I want to be friendly with everybody.
But you're saying it. You're essentially saying that it's ridiculous, or you're calling people ridiculous for the way that they're viewing.
Totally ridiculous.
And it is what it is. How is that helping anything? Because now you're starting to match.
You think it's okay because somebody in your life has a different political view than you, that these two people that have been together for years.
No, I don't think it's okay.
We're on a journey.
No, I don't
all of a sudden we have to go our separate ways.
Let me. I remember my thought now. You know what I was thinking the other day? You're thinking suddenly, we've never been like this before, but suddenly we're like this. And here's what I recognized. And that's not true. We've always been like this, but there's never been a scenario this bold that's brought it to the surface. There's never been a scenario that's allowed all of that stuff that's in everyone to come up to the surface. And I feel like it's finally here. And I feel like it has to happen. Almost like, have you ever had one of those zits where they sit under your skin for a really long time and you know it's there and it's a little sensitive, but it's not really noticeable. And then suddenly it comes up to the surface and it's starting to get more and more hideous. But that's the only way that it's going to come out and clear. Like, we have to start looking at, Billy, you resisting what is not going to change what is. You retaliating about how people are passionate today, even though it's a target against you. I understand that. I can't imagine that it's comfortable. And just because I'm not plugged into a side and I come off a little kumbaya, it doesn't mean that I'm not passionate and I don't care. I care a lot. But I also start to recognize, like, what's the point of fighting against what's happening? I think that's what's causing it to build momentum. In whatever intelligent way you're fighting against something, everybody's fighting against something right now, and it's causing the ultimate chaos and polarity.
I don't mind the fight in a calm way with kindness for love of country. I don't mind the debate in a way that is healthy for the country. I don't mind the division as long as it's not separating people that once loved and cared for each other, completely separating them from the rest of their lives. That's what I'm saying.
It's sad.
You're making my point for me.
Yeah, feels sad.
And you know what? I'll read you a message. Here's a message I got. Here's a message I got this morning.
Oh, no.
I'll read you a message. So this is from, I probably shouldn't say who it's from. So somebody wrote me, Billy, when did you become such a nutcase? Well, I don't know. You must not known me long enough. Your show seemed so normal when I first moved here, but you've gone full Trump crazy, huh? So this is just one example from a lot of examples of messages that I get. And you know what the truth is? I started talking to other people about this. People that are not public or don't do shows or aren't on camera, they're going through the same thing. Because what do? Social media. They post on Instagram. They post on Facebook. Or, God forbid, you bring up a topic that's not PC at the Thanksgiving table in a couple weeks. This discourse has to happen.
You could save money on Christmas gifts.
Well, yeah, you're going to have a lot less Christmas gifts. We have the holidays coming up. I guess my overall point here is it's okay to disagree.
Yeah.
We can agree to disagree.
And that's what just to make a point too with you. I'm not diminishing that it's how deeply uncomfortable it is, and I find you to be brave, because a lot of people they'll have all these feelings inside, but to be able to just share them and express them, that's brave, because you're up against all of this feedback you're going to get and all of this energy that feels negative, and that's hard to take, and it's hard to stand inside of like who you are and what your truth is and just be bold and put it out there. And that's what I really honor about you. And I feel like rather than criticizing, and maybe we can all relate to this, I know there's a hard stop on F you if you voted for one side or the other, depending on how passionate you are. But how's that working for us? I mean, can we all agree it's not working? I feel like we're all on the same page that it's not working. So what if we were just to start a little bit to begin to understand each other? Rather than just say, this is wrong, I think this is ridiculous. Maybe whoever is that woman, like, I kind of want to understand you a little bit more and understand where you're coming from, because it feels true to you. So rather than just be like, that's ridiculous, let's just see, why is that true for you?
Do you know what hashtag was trending leading up to this election and on election night? Do you have any idea?
No.
It was civil war. Civil war. Now, what happened? We had an election. It was, by all accounts, fairly free, fairly peaceful. We had one candidate lose, and what did she do? She conceded. Everything was peaceful, and hopefully we're going to see a very gracious, peaceful transition of power. Yeah. And credit to her campaign, and to the Biden White House as well. Peaceful.
Yeah.
We hate this guy. He's supposedly Hitler, but guess what? We lost. That's a beautiful thing. Civil war trending. Did it happen? No, there's no civil war. The streets are fine. But there is a civil war. It's an emotional civil war. It's a civil war within friendships and families. Why? Because the mainstream media, because the corporate elites, because rich politicians, who most of us don't even know, are dividing us. They're dividing us. And that's where messages like that come from.
And coming from somebody that doesn't really plug into it in a way that, like, hard right, hard left, I sometimes hear people talking, and it does feel so confusing to me. I mean, we were in a conversation with somebody. I think they saw something online that I would say it is silly, ridiculous. I think the parents put condoms on the kids' fingers or something like that. And immediately that was the liberals. Like, wait, what? How? Why?
Conservatives don't use condoms?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just, to me, it is confusing, but I feel like if we just, see, because what I want to do with you, rather than just vent about what's so, because everybody's venting about what's so, like, what could be then? You tell me, what could be, and what does that look like?
So we'll leave you with this before I get too fired up here. Leave you with this. My mother, my beautiful mother, and I'm not an overly religious person. That's another show topic. That's something I'm struggling with spirituality. My mother gave me a prayer card. And I haven't memorized the little prayer, but on the other side of the prayer card, and it's from a church here locally in Scottsdale, it said two words, and it was "look twice." And it gives me chills when I even say it. What that meant to me was when you meet somebody and you're feeling that tension, you're feeling that anxiety, like, oh, this flaming liberal with blue hair, or oh, this MAGA guy with an American flag, MAGA hat, and a tattoo, or whatever, look twice. Look beyond politics. Look beyond who they voted for, because I bet you'll find more often than not, there's kindness and there's a beautiful person there. So I guess that is my overall message to everyone out there.
Yeah.
Look twice at people, even if they don't align with you politically, because otherwise we have a real poison, a cancer in our society. And yes, you're right, it's not going to get any better.
Yeah, I agree. And I would just tag that, to end it with, get your own evidence that's the case. Like, I could say there's been so many times that at first glance, I have like a quick judgment. I notice it, but there's a quick judgment there. And almost every time when I move past it, it's never what I think it is. Like those fronts, those presentations that people have has nothing to do with who they truly are. And I think we're fighting about things that are so surfacey, just so on the surface. And if we just get, we're all really one. And I'm not trying to sound all cheesy, but really, I feel like if we just pause in that for a moment, we're all one. We're all one. We all want the same thing.
So here's the call to action. Look twice, and here's the other thing I would say. If you have somebody in your family or somebody in your friend group or maybe a colleague that it's been a little weird, it's been a little tense over the last couple of weeks since the election, give them an act of kindness. Bring a coffee to the office. Cook your loved one dinner. Maybe you and your wife have been battling a little bit because one voted Trump, one voted Kamala. Cook her dinner. Get her a massage. Whatever it is, an act of kindness outside of politics can go a long way. And number 3, stop messaging me hate messages, because I'm going to stop reading them.
Or I'll respond and I'll ask you, why do you feel that way?
But I'm glad we had this conversation, because to your point, like, you're not highly political. You're more, you go through your life and there's other things that are probably more important that you focus on. But you see what's happening in society. And it's just not good.
I think there's an addiction to drama right now. Because here's the thing. If there wasn't some slight addiction to drama, whatever you're putting your attention on would be solution-based, or you would pay it no mind. But yet we're all putting our attention on these dramatic things, and they're not solution based at all. They're just very and if you think about it, look inside. Why, if you don't like Trump, if you don't like Trump and you keep watching Trump, why? You're getting some rush out of hating Trump. That is an addiction to drama. So if we are going to put our attention on something, let it be solution based.
Solution based. And be addicted to kindness or something else. Joe Biden, free Joe Exotic. Donald Trump should free Hunter Biden, pardon Hunter Biden, and that's a show of unity in this country. I just had to get that out there. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to my little rant there, and thanks for calming me down a little bit. I feel better already. Okay, everybody, like, subscribe, comment below. What do you think? Am I overblowing this? Are you having problems in your friendships, in your family? Just remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the red, white, and blue, and we're Americans.